is known as one of the countries that has diverse and countless of indigenous tribes across the island, which contributes to the richness of our famous legends, myths, and folklore stories. It has been told throughout the years and still adapted until the present time, but have evolved to the stories we know today. So numerous of myths and legends have sprung about things that are beyond one's imagination. Mainly, the reason why Filipinos have gained a lot of interest in their history. So these stories are aimed to explain the origin of things at the same time, accompanied with moral and valuable lessons to all Filipinos. So one of the famous Filipino legends of all times is the origin of the guava fruit. In this story, the body of traditional material is preserved and passed on from generation to generation with constant variations shaped by memory, immediate need or purpose, and degree of individual talent in showcasing the development of each legend of stories. Now, I would like to give the most essential contents of this legend, showing the facts and how it started and goes its end through a puppet kind of show. A long time ago, there was a story of a selfish and greedy king who ruled a rich and prosperous island. He had all the things a king could ever ask for: the throne, the power, the wealth, shelter, his people who served him whom he disregarded, and the food which he cannot even share to his people who needed it much. The king's name was King Barabbas. The king cannot see the starvation within the eyes of many, suffering and getting misery all day long. Every now and then, they would approach again and again with requests for help, but he would always refuse. He's more hesitant to share it to anyone. All of you, get out of here! As he neglected his kingdom, people started to complain, starve, and even his own kingdom started to become filthy. King Barabbas, we're so hungry and we don't have food to eat. Please, give me some food. I don't care if you're hungry. Ha 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 ha. After a couple of days, there was a beggar who came to the palace begging for food. The old lady was asking for food as she was starving, but little did the king know that it was all a test, proving to everyone how he put his kingdom into in vain. Please, my king, I'm asking for anything you could give me, as I am so hungry. Even a little piece of bread or fruit would do. Get out, old beggar, you disgust me. The old woman stood up straight, casting aside her stooped posture. I've heard much about you and how your kingdom is suffering. The tone of her voice had changed. It was no longer the voice of a weak, old woman. I asked for help and you shoved me away. You have a lot for yourself, but when I only asked for a little food, you belittled me. You are selfish. No one loves you and no one will remember you when you are gone. Soon after that, the king died. As unfortunate and unexpected as it was, no one cried and nobody showed up at the king's burial. He died alone. And where the king was buried, his people noticed a strange plant growing, a plant they have never seen before. Look! There's a plant! I've never seen it before. These are delicious. Yeah, but it's a bit sour, like King Barabbas' personality, right? Yes, you're right.
People also notice that the fruit seems to have a crown as it develops, which reminded them of their selfish and arrogant king. The people learned to eat the food which helped them with starvation, and because the tree was from the grave of King Barabbas and it has crown just like their king, they named the tree after him Barabbas, which in time they called Bayabas. The end.
This legend is a traditional and historical but authenticated story that have been part of the Filipino childhood. It may be old, but this has been published in order to be recognized and be popular to its significant lessons. First and foremost, it is a great eye-opener for everyone to not practice being arrogant, greedy, and abusive in power. No one could ever replace the relationship between humankind than keeping your wealth and power on your hand eternally. Life is not always dependent of who's on top, but instead, we exist equally. So even if we are in low class of the society, then we should not have considered it as a hindrance or something to be ashamed of. Importantly, we all have power to voice out our opinions and not being dictated by anyone higher than us. We must take part of our role and not always expecting to the one we never expected. We also need to realize how being selfish of the possessions we have can really affect us, particularly in emotional and social aspect. Because by every moment, I believe that everything has its end. Karma will lead us back to what it is, either death or change, a satisfaction of punishment to the people we belittled. Indeed, the story provides the realization that sometimes we couldn't do anything that happens, and we ended up realizing mistakes at last.